Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and today's video is something a little bit different. I have been tagged by the lovely Antonio to take part in a 10-question challenge about the Crafty universe. So it's all about crafting and it's all about me. And I've been asked to take part in this challenge, which is 10 questions. So I thought I would have a go. And so let's do it. Number one, my name. Well, my name is Jane Allmark. Number two, how did your channel name come about? Well, my channel name is Amethyst Star Crafting. So amethyst is my favourite stone crystal. I've always loved the colour of amethyst. I love that sort of violetty purple colour. And I've collected sort of crystals and things over the years, and amethyst is my absolute favourite. The colour is something that I really love. So when I was looking to choose a name, I wanted something that would go with amethyst. So I thought of a word that I could tag it onto, which was star, because the amethyst, the ST from amethyst and the ST from the beginning of star, meant that if you put them both together and you took out one of the STs, if it makes sense, you have amethyst star. And then crafting is obviously something that I enjoy doing, so that's where Amethyst Star Crafting came from. Question number 3. My favourite craft. Oh my goodness, I suppose my favourite craft has to be Stampin' Up. I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator for nearly 5 years now. I love the quality of the products. And I love the variety. There is something for me, whether it be flowers, whether it be line drawings, whether it be the different coloured cardstocks and the beautiful papers and all of those sorts of things. So I suppose I am a bit biased in that, and that is my favourite craft. So number 4, favourite shopping place for craft materials. I suppose I am pretty much exclusive Stampin' Up. As a demonstrator, I get a great discount, so why wouldn't I buy all my products from Stampin' Up? Because I get the discount, and that's really good. So and the variety, all of the things I've just said, that's one of the reasons that it has to be my favourite place. If I was to go outside of Stampin' Up, it really is when it's something that I can't buy through Stampin' Up, and I suppose it would probably be Amazon. I recently bought a crocodile. I wanted to punch holes in things, and the hole punch that I had was very stiff and very old, and it didn't go through more than sort of one piece without me heaving on the handle. So I bought myself a crocodile, and I got that from Amazon. So I suppose that's probably the only other place that I would go outside of Stampin' Up. Number 5. Oh, 5 top crafters you enjoy the most. Oh, that's a really difficult one. I suppose I don't spend a huge amount of time looking at other crafters because I have a pretty busy life. I work, I craft, I do all sorts of other things. So if it was, I would say probably Jennifer Maguire. I love Jennifer Maguire's different techniques and things that she does, and her videos tend to always do 5 or 6 different projects, so there's always a lot of content in there, and I suppose she's given me inspiration over the years. I would say, I'm having to look down on my list, so excuse my eyes going down all the time. I would say from America, probably Connie Stewart. Connie Stewart is a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and she has the most infectious personality. If you are feeling you know, you want to be cheered up at all, just watch one of her videos. She just has the most lovely way about her. She smiles, she's laughy, she just makes you smile just watching her before she's even started a project. So she's somebody who I really enjoy. From Australia, again, I really love her infectiousness. I like the fact that she tells lots of stories, and that's Kylie Bertucci. She did the Love It, Chop It series, you know, chopping up all your papers and things. And although it's something that I don't necessarily follow, I really like her, just her style, her sort of enthusiasm and things like that. So, so she would be a definite. And another lady who isn't on YouTube anymore, but she has the most amazing Facebook group, is a lady called Fiona. And her Facebook group, which I will put a link down below, is The Joy of Sets. And she started this a few years ago, and it was all Stampin' Up stamp sets. And they were old, so retard stamp sets as well as new favourites. And she puts them, or she has them all in albums. So anybody that joins the group, if they've made cards and they post them in the various albums, it means that if you've got an old favourite or a new favourite, you can go on to the albums, look up the one that you want, and you can see lots of inspiration from lots of other people around the world. She's now broadened it so that there are various other different stamping companies and lots of ideas, lots of inspiration. So that's somebody who I really enjoy watching. Number 6, my favourite colours. Oh, has to be purples. I love purples in all shapes and forms. So in Stampin' Up, I love the, says me looking at my list, I've got Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape, and what else have we got? Oh, lots of different sort of purpley type shades, but anything to do with purples. Purples is one of my favourites, so those are my favourite colours. Number 7, where does my love of craft come from? That has to come from my little mum. My little mum's no longer with me anymore, and in fact she's been gone for almost 11 years, but she was really my inspiration for everything to do with craft. She was the most amazing artist, and I remember when I was quite little, she used to sit with a drawing pad and a pencil, and she would just sort of sketch me sitting across from her, sketch the family, and I used to absolutely love that. I've got some of her pictures and things as sort of treasured things. In later life she went on to do embroidery, but not your sort of standard cross stitch and things like that. She would do 3-dimensional pictures, and in fact I've got one down here which I got out to just show you all. So it's going to be very difficult. I'm going to sort of stand back a little bit so you can maybe see this. But this is all done with embroidery. It's completely 3-dimensional. And if I bring it up sort of a little bit closer to the camera, you can see there's little seed pearls and things in here. And it's done on the, says me standing back as far as I can so you can see it. It's done on the forest fires. So let me just go up sort of to the bottom of it. And in 1976, there were the most horrendous forest fires in an area local to me and the family. And many years later, my mum took inspiration from some of those images that she had, and she created this lovely 3-dimensional piece of work. And she's done lots of others which I've got around the house. So she was where my crafting came from right in the beginning. I always thought that I would never ever be able to be an artist. I can't draw for toffee. However, with the Stampin' Up line images, and I'm always going on about how I love line images, you can just stamp the image and then colour it however you want, and it gives you the artistic impression without having to be the actual artist. So that's where my love of crafting came from. When did I first start crafting? I suppose I've always been a fairly crafty person. I've knitted. I enjoy knitting. I enjoy crocheting. I enjoy sewing. I used to sew clothes and things like that when I was, you know, when my children were sort of growing up, and through those years I really liked doing that. Paper crafting, probably got into that about sort of 7, maybe 10 years ago. Played around with a few things, didn't really like the fact that I wasn't particularly good at it, or I didn't think I was. And then I met a very good friend of mine who started Stampin' Up, and I went along the first time and I was absolutely terrible. I remember catching my my part of my skin in one of the punches because I didn't know how to punch properly, and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do that. But I came back again and again because she was a good friend of mine and I enjoyed the fact that it was a social evening. And then I got hooked, and you know, 7 years later, I now absolutely love it. I've developed, I've learnt, I've developed my own skill, my own style, my own things, and I learn something new almost every day. So that's where I really sort of first started crafting. Number 9, my favourite craft so far. Oh my goodness. I can't really answer that as a definitive one item thing. I tend to, as I've developed, so I have changed my sort of style, and my sort of favourites change as I sort of change. So paper card making was probably the first thing that I really enjoyed doing. I now love doing boxes and 3D projects and various other different things. I like trying something new. I like turning around and getting a stamp set which I've bought, and then turning around and going, okay, how many ways can I use this? What can I do something different with it? So I sort of change as I develop. So I can't really sort of just have one favourite. It has to be a changing thing as I change. And number 10, my favourite craft tool. I'm going to put an S on the end of that because I can't have craft tool as just one thing. My paper trimmer. We just have a brand new paper trimmer that's just come out, which is just being trialled with demonstrators at the moment. But I cut all my paper myself, so I don't buy, apart from the odd notelets occasionally, I don't buy ready-made cards. I cut them all myself. I work for a lovely old people's day centre, and I've been running a craft class there for 5 odd years now, once a week. And so I cut all of the card, all of the paper, all of the mats, all of the bits and pieces on there. So a really good paper trimmer, and something that I can see the measurements really easily. I find that some of the paper trimmers you can only see things in 1/4 of an inch, and if I want to do it 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch, I want to see those markings really easily. So the Stampin' Up paper trimmer has been my best friend. The old one was, the new one will be. I've just got the new one and I think it's brilliant, and I'm sure everybody will do when they get it. So that has to be my number 1 craft tool. But I can't just have one, because the scoring, the scoreboard is the second one. I score everything, so all of the card I score in half. Anything that I'm doing for boxes and things like that, I need my scoreboard for. So scoreboard, really, really important. So those two are probably my number 1, number 2 favourite craft tools. So those are my 10 questions, and I hope you found out a little bit more about me, which is fun. I now have to challenge some other people. Now, I don't really enjoy challenging people to do things. I'm going to invite them. If they don't want to, there is absolutely no you have to or anything like that. It's a little bit of fun, and it helps people find out a little bit more about some of our fellow crafters around the world. So I will nominate 2 people. The first has to be Fiona. She probably won't do it on a video or anything like that, but hopefully she might do it on her Facebook group, which is The Joy of Sets. And yeah, so that's my first one. And the second one is a lovely lady called Andrea, who has a YouTube channel called Crafty Little Things. And I really enjoy the fact that she does quite a few different things, a bit like Antonio. Doesn't just do paper crafting, he does beauty products, you know, making your own beauty products. He does cookery, really lovely yummy recipes and things that we can all try. Well, Andrea does crochet, and there's lots of lovely crochet inspiration. So if you've never crocheted before and you fancy having a go, something totally different, her YouTube channel is really good, and I'll put a link to that below. She also does some amazing things for charity. So again, is somebody that I would highly recommend for her work with a particular charity. So those are the 2 people that I will put down as my nominations to you know, to have a go at doing this 10 questions about crafting. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I know it's something different. I will be back to my normal videos, but wanted to have a go at this because I thought it would be fun, and I thought it would give you a little bit of more of an insight into me and why I enjoy doing all of these things. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.